Hey everyone, and welcome to Pals Chat. I am your host, Gina Parker, and I'm here with my guest co-host, Heidi Tabing.
Hey, what's up?
Heidi, what are you up to this week? What are you consuming? Video games, books, movies,
Oh,
music?
yeah. I finished Baldur's Gate 3, which is a very long game, and it was even longer because I saved scummed a lot. So I have I don't know, like 180 hours in it. It's only supposed to be like an 80 to 100-hour game, but I missed that hit. I am reloading my save. We're gonna take 30 seconds because I was playing it on an older computer. But yeah, finished that. It was good stuff. And then I started Final Fantasy VII Rebirth immediately afterward. And that was much shorter, though I did do a lot of the side quests, but I ended up skipping over a lot of the dialogue. I'm like, you know what? I don't really care what they have to say. I know the gist. They're telling me where to go. The map is going to update with where my objective is, so I don't really need to pay attention to this. It's just filler. It's kind of disrespectful to the voice actors and the people who put in the effort into it, but my time is precious. I don't need to listen to this stuff because I've played so many video games. You know the deal. They're just telling you where to go next. So it's like this isn't not interesting. So, yeah. And today I just finished reading. It is called Disentangling from the Emotionally Immature Person by Dr. Lindsay C. Gibson. And I also read one of her earlier books, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, which I do recommend for anybody who feels like your emotional needs were not met as a child, even now as an adult. Good stuff. Um, I'm finding that I'm enjoying a lot more nonfiction as an adult. A lot of self help books and a lot of things that make me reflect and like what kind of a person am I do I want to be, like what do I need to get there, and including financial stuff. Also read I Will Teach You How to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. I keep saying it wrong, but he does also have a Netflix show with a very similar name, How to Get Rich.
You mentioned a Netflix show. Did you watch the show too, and that's how you got into the book, or just
Yeah,
the book?
so I am in the process of finding a place of my own. I am considering apartments as well as condos, and I feel like with the market the way it is, it might be a better idea to get an apartment just for the flexibility, even though I would like to own, but I feel like the more affordable condos are in less desirable areas. So I'm like, okay, I could pay slightly more in rent, have a little more flexibility, and live in a nicer neighborhood. Or I could be stuck with an HOA that, I just have to deal with for the next 30 years, and that's gonna suck. So one of my friends recommended that I watch the show How to Get Rich on Netflix because there was one of the subject? Yeah, okay. There was a subject on the show who had a problem HOA who was not responding to her requests for hot water. She did not have hot water in the entire time that she had been living in her condo. Um, so Ramit was helping her out, like with writing a letter to the HOA to get her the hot water because she was paying the HOA fees and everything like that, and they're just like, I'm not gonna do anything. So he gave her some tips on how to do that. And after like watching that one segment, I was like, I should probably watch the entire show, and then I did. It's
Well,
only like
that's
eight
interesting.
episodes, but yeah, good stuff if you feel like you need some financial guidance.
And so circling back even farther, you mentioned another book that was very helpful to you, feeling like you didn't get what you needed. Is there a salient point of like something you took from it, or just like one thing you took from it?
Yeah, okay. So I read that book a while ago. That was when I was seeing my first therapist. It's again, the book is called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. And it's a good book just to put things into perspective from a more objective point of view about how you were raised and the disconnect between how you feel and what you were told by the people who were, raising you. So there's like a lot of good stuff with that, and just like having the research and the words and the language to put your experiences into place and be like, oh, that's why I am the way I am, or that explains my experiences growing up. So, real insightful stuff. I don't like writing in books, so what I do, I just put strips of post its
Mm.
near the passage where I feel is especially relevant. And then I go back and I copy down all those passages into like a document so I can refer to that later on whenever I need, like, okay, what did this book say and how I should approach this situation.
Does it bother you aesthetically if you see a book that has tons of writing in it?
Yeah, yeah. It's been a while since I've looked at my notes. I know I looked at it earlier this year, but because I am on like my third therapist. Not that there's anything wrong with my previous therapists. They were great people, and I'm really thankful for like all the insight and the help that they've imbued me with over the years. It's just insurance changed, and I'm like, okay, I need to
Hmm.
find a new therapist now. But yeah, so that book isn't quite as fresh in my mind, but I know it's pretty helpful for anybody who's feeling kind of like lost and confused with, especially, familial parental relationships, and like how you could better navigate them if you're feeling like they're strained and you know, the power dynamic that comes with it. The second book, Disentangling from Emotionally Immature People, is more how to help people navigate with like just all the immature people in life. But most often it's usually family members because it's hard for people to just cut them out completely. Unlike, other kinds of relationships. A big thing that's sticking with me, and I want to apologize for, is that emotionally immature people do not give compliments readily. It's like they're waiting to be impressed by another person before they give out any kind of compliments. And I was like really reflecting on that, on my past experiences of who I am, how I took that from my parents and applied it to the people in my own life, like with, literary club in high
Mm.
school. And
Mm.
I'm thinking back and I'm like, I was so critical. I'm not going to call myself names. I was so critical. I was just pointing out all of the flaws and not really like pointing out, okay, like you did this thing really well, but I feel like it would be better if you did it this way. Or, I see what you're trying to do, but I feel like it's not as effective and I feel like you could do better and that kind of stuff. It was just like, this doesn't work for me. That was really dumb. And that was like, no, I don't like that. And yes. So Gina Parker, I'm sorry if my criticism has ever been too harsh.
I remember just having great times with you in those clubs and
Aw, thanks.
having fun. And when we made our movies, those were so fun.
Yeah.
We have
Um,
a lot of memories.
I do want to get back to that point. But yeah, that's like the main thing because as a creative person and being in a creative industry, positive reinforcement goes a long way. And I have noticed, at least in the most recent years, I have been a lot more complimentary to like my peers and stuff. Like, hey, I recognize that you tried really hard with that. And I just want to like give you a little shout out and be like, good job. It's gotten to the point where it does feel more natural when it comes out. And it's like second nature. I don't feel weird or disingenuine when I say that. Um, so it's nice. Character growth. But yeah, going back to literary club in high school. And so earlier this year, preparing to get out and move on my own, I was thinking about all of my physical belongings and thinking that I need to pare down on a bunch of my crap. I need to get rid of some stuff because I'm gonna have to move everything, and a lot of this stuff I know that I do not want to bring with me because it doesn't have any meaning to me. It's just taking up space. Um, so I did read Marie Kondo's books. The Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up, I believe her first book was called, and also I think her other book was called Sparking Joy. Gave me a lot of insight on like what physical things I want in my life. And so her philosophy starts with the least sentimental stuff, like with your clothes, because people today have a lot of clothes with fast fashion. It's just something that's really easy to come by. Like, you're just going to order that thing online, put it in your closet. Cool. I mean, some clothes can be sentimental too, like prom dresses or wedding dresses and stuff like that. But those would be pushed back further into the queue to the sentimental items, which comes last. And then there's like, she go after clothes, it's like books, documents, paper stuff, that kind of like paper stuff, manuals, things that don't really have sentimental value. But among my papers, of course, were all my drawings and my writing and stuff like that. I'm like, I can't get to this now. I'm not ready. So I did push that aside to the sentimental stuff to take care of later. And after paper stuff is komono, which is like miscellany and like everything that doesn't fall into the first categories. So like kitchen gas, electrical cords, tools, other household stuff, cleaning supplies. And then you make your way onto the sentimental stuff. I was like kind of personally terrified to get to the personal stuff. I was like, man, this is going to bring up some tough memories. And I don't want to think about the person who I used to be. Like, oh, because, had a lot of growing up to do, as well, I hope most of us do, but after reading
Hmm.
this book, actually, some people are just incapable of it, and I'm trying to come to terms with that. Like, I'm kind of disappointed in certain people in my life that they're not trying harder to be better people, and after reading the book, it was like, it's not so much a lack of trying, it's just that they are neurologically not wired to think certain ways.
Hmm.
um, to think more compassionately, to be more considerate of other people. So I'm trying to.
Yeah. I don't want to offend you by saying this. Do you think there's also a bit of codependence in wanting other people to be better people while you're also on your own journey, like being accountable just for yourself and your own growth, but then expecting others to come with you? Do you think that's a form of codependence? If you disagree, that's totally fine. I was just throwing it out there.
Okay, well, I mean, I haven't thought about that before. That's not a question that has come into mind yet, so haven't thought of that. I do have thoughts about codependence, though, and just like how a lot of millennials are kind of forced to grow up later because of the economy and everything like that. It's like it's hard to grow up. But yeah, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, like I haven't thought about it, so I don't really have any thoughts about it yet. But it is something interesting to think about. For me, anyway, it's like wanting somebody to be accountable for like the pain that they've caused you.
Hmm.
And like I've kind of come to terms with that I'm never going to get an apology. And I just have to be okay with that because yeah, it's not going to happen.
Hmm.
Understanding all the circumstances around it and why it's not possible and how it continues to hurt me
Right.
wanting that to happen. The book says pressure to forgive puts an unfair burden on a process that can take a lifetime and may never be completed. Forgiveness is not really a goal, it's more of a byproduct of years of processing. And then coming to the solution that I have my own place physically, my own sanctuary where I am in charge of when the lights are on and when the TV's off and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
all that stuff. Reading that in this book, that forgiveness shouldn't be pushed, it makes me feel better because it's also like with other things in my life, a lot of people have told me you should be over this by now, and I wasn't over it. I didn't like get to fully process what had happened until I started therapy. Therapy is fucking great, by the way. If anybody has issues that you are not sure how to process, therapy can help you with that. I have had great experiences with therapy. I know some people do have trouble finding the right person. It can be discouraging to like come across somebody who doesn't understand you or doesn't know how to give you the right kind of feedback. But in that case, like, keep trying, try somebody else. This past round of getting a new therapist wasn't that great. Thankfully, on the second try, I landed with somebody great. And my therapist has not made me feel bad for not already having come to forgiveness. I think the pressure was more so on myself just to feel better about the whole situation. After I had done the forgiveness training and I had practiced it for a while, I'm still not okay. And that's okay, because as the book says, it's like it can be a lifelong process. Going back to the decluttering thing, though, I was afraid to like go through a bunch of the sentimental stuff, like my drawings and the notes. Like you guys wrote on my writing and shit, and in my note and my yearbooks and stuff. I'm like, I don't really want to remember the person who I was. Because, like, I know I was childish. I know I was, like, emotionally impulsive. And I've said some really awful stuff. And, I was literally a fucking child. So I should be a little more, forgiving of myself for being emotionally immature because I was a literal child. I just didn't really want to face the ugly parts of myself that I had maybe forgotten and buried down. But then I might cry because it's happy. I was going through the pictures and stuff and I was like, these were good times. And it didn't make me sad. I was like, I had good friends. I had good times. I had support. And it
You
was
did.
good. It was good going through it and being like, oh, it's not as bad. I like this. This was good from that experience and being kind of jaded with the world and like I'm tired and I see creativity differently because now it's my job. And of course I love my job, but I have to approach it differently, more formulaic, not just from a place of expressing myself. So to like look back on my work when I was, just expressing myself, I'm like it's special to be like this is how free I was before. I'm sorry if my crying is making you uncomfortable.
It's not.
Okay, thank you. I'm
And
very emotional.
it's okay. And I hope when you were looking back at those times and the stuff we were writing and the pictures and everything, you were able to see like we were there then because we cared about you then, and we're here
Yeah,
now because we care about you now.
yeah.
And, and whatever, I mean, we're all our own worst critics, of course, but it's there's always been greatness in you, you know?
Aw, thank you. It was a lot of warm, fuzzy feelings. Just like going through old stuff and being like, this is good. Going through my drawings too, it was like, this is how free I was. I really feel like high school was like the first time I got to express myself and be seen. So it's like to see that point in my life when I like discovered that freedom and be like, wow, like there's like a lot of expression here, and it brought back like a lot of the childlike wonder that I had been missing for such a long time because I had been thinking more strategically from a business standpoint of how I should approach my creativity. So it's like this is what it's like when I don't have to worry about those things and when I'm just creating for myself and for fun. And um, it was really nice nostalgia to look back on that and to suddenly remember what it felt like. It was a good reminder. Like people say things like, release your inner child and discover your inner child again and stuff like that. But, easier said than done. And I feel like this was a really good process to actually feel it again. Like
Mm-hmm.
actually feel it. Like, oh, this is what people mean. So, yeah, that's just my experience. But if anybody needs help, like finding their inner child, and you do still have your high school shit, I feel like looking back on that stuff is a good idea. I did end up throwing a lot of my lesser sketches away, like just like the pieces that I'm like, I don't really feel anything from this. And that's kind of part of Marie Kondo's philosophy. Is like, does it spark joy? Like, hold it to you, like, hold it in your hands and really look at it and like think about the memories surrounding it. Do you feel anything? Is it joy? If it's like nothing, then, just put it aside. And I bought a container to keep my old sketches and stuff. It could barely close. But by the time I was done with it, it was like maybe about that. I think I got rid of a third of it or so, and I could actually close it. I'm like, cool. progress. I went through my photos too, of course. Keep hold of the photos that really means something to you. Like if you just have a blurry video a picture of like the train station.
Point
I
St.
had a
George.
yeah, I had a blurry picture of the train station and I'm just looking at it, I'm like, why the hell is this in here? So I got rid of that. I kept the pictures of us when we were like going out to dinner. When I opened the album again and I want to look at those pictures, they're actually stuff that means something to me. It took me 3 weeks, I want to say, but I had also been kind of decluttering a lot beforehand for the past 2 years, ever since I was like, yeah, I'm working full time now. But it wasn't until this year when I actually read the books and got like a better idea for the philosophy of cleaning up. And that gave me better ideas. I don't need all this crap that I've been holding on to.
I want to take it back to a superficial place, if I may,
Sure.
because I feel like we dug deep and now we're uh which is the voice acting. You
Mm-hmm.
saying you skipped the dialogue, and you've been mentioned on this podcast multiple times
Oh.
by me and one of our other friends because of your voice acting career. And I was just wondering how that felt to you. You have no conflicting feelings about that, skipping the dialogue.
Um, I mean, for me as a gamer, it's a little different from me as a voice actor. Like if I got to a side quest and I could like, see in the dialogue being emotional now and I should be paying attention, then I would actually let the dialogue play out as intended. Voice acted video games, I do listen to them to see like different genres of like how they are delivering their reads, and which affects how I absorb that into my own work to give modern updated reads and stuff like that. But yeah, as a gamer, it's like a lot of like modern AAA games are like 80 plus hours, and they say, of course, like the side quests are optional. You don't need to do them. And I, as somebody who wants to get the most out of a video game while still respecting my time, because in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth specifically, you do have an affinity level with the other characters in your party, and you can raise that at affinity level by doing different side quests with the other characters in your party. So if you skip out on those side quests completely, like there's a date scene later on, and it's kind of judged on who you have the highest affinity with. So if you haven't done any of the side quests, you're just gonna have a very sad scene.
Aw.
Like everybody else goes to the theater without you except for like the other guys. And they're not really happy to hang out with you. And it's like, well, um so yeah, that I wanted to get the best out of the stories, so I did want to do the side quests, but yeah, with some of them it's just like, having played so many video games, you understand the structure of side quests. Like you meet somebody, they give you the problem, they tell you how to help them, and it's during that whole problem where I'm just like, yeah, like I get it. Like I'm gonna just speed through this part. I don't really need to hear all the details. I just need to know where to go and what to do.
Do you
I
watch the
do.
streams?
I've seen some other people, and like there are some video games where I like listen to in the background of games that I've already played, because
Okay.
then I want to know like how other people perceived certain scenes. If they skip over the dialogue, I'm mad. But then it's like they have another audience at that point. If it's another person is involved, like if somebody's watching me play, then I wouldn't skip over the dialogue because maybe they want to hear it too. But as a solo player, for the sake of my own time, I wanted to skip over it so we could get through with things because I'm a busy lady and I got stuff to do.
You are a busy lady.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Heidi, for sharing that. My share this week is very superficial. I'm watching a show called We Are Lady Parts, and
Oh.
it's a show about a Muslim rock band. It's fictional in England, and it's just like a fun thing of these girls, trying to have the girl power punk scene, but also just kind of being nerds, which is fun for me.
Oh, cool. Where's that playing?
Peacock, the Peacock
Okay.
app,
Okay, cool.
if you're looking for something, but I know you're busy, but if you're
Yeah,
looking for something.
I'm like, I don't know. I feel like most of this stuff, if it's not like research for work,
Mhm.
then it's usually like informational of some kind. I watch a lot of. I think the majority of the stuff that I watch is on YouTube, and it is informational in some way. It's like, there I very rarely watch stuff for pure entertainment. Like,
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's something I wanted to recommend to you specifically, and it is pure entertainment, but I thought you would enjoy because of the visual mastery. And it's just a movie, it's not a show.
okay.
And it's called RRR. Have you seen it?
Oh, I've heard about it.
It's on Netflix. It's so visually stunning
It
that
was yeah.
I
Sorry.
thought you might enjoy it.
Okay. It was at the Oscars, right? It was for what, best foreign film or something.
Maybe. It's such a good one.
Cool. I maybe I'll watch that over the weekend. I do need to get back to writing a little bit. I
And now we have a musical interlude from Lady Rand's live show. Now we're going to discuss All My Children, which is August 21st, 1981. We have Erica learns that Brandon won't move in with her after all. So Brandon's wife, Joanna, is like, I'll give you a divorce after a year, but if you do it before a year, then I'm going to destroy your career, which seems like it's just a test to destroy his relationship. There's no other purpose. Sean pressures Nina to give in to Sybil's ultimatum because he's working for Palmer. Sean continues to be a dirtbag. And Devin corners Betsy. So Devin has found out Betsy's hooking up with her husband, and she's like, no, 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 Betsy, putting a stop to it. August 24th, 1981. Devin tells Betsy to stay away from her husband, Wally. That's understandable. Sybil and Sean celebrate their scheme working, celebrating too soon, as we'll likely find out. Opal, Jenny, Betsy, and Kate have dinner together, and just, nice, everyone bonding, getting to know each other. And Cliff, Nina, Chuck, and Carrie have dinner together as well. It's a dinner party episode, and it's a nice time. And you can tell Nina doesn't really want to divorce Cliff because she's still going along with the dinner party. August 25th, 1981, Nina asks Cliff for a divorce. She's going along with the ultimatum. Erica is enraged by a profile in Tempo magazine that makes it seem like Brandon's not that into her. Jesse and Jenny meet at Foxy, so it's the start of a beautiful friendship. And Sean dumps Daisy because he thinks he has a chance with her daughter, Nina. Oh, Sean. August 26, 1981, Nina tells Cliff about the scheme to break them up. So, defuse that little bomb. And Erica goes around town trying to clear her name from the Tempo magazine that says she can't hold on to it. And then our last episode, August 27th, 1981, Cliff is just like sharing his anger towards Sybil. He's venting to everyone about what she did to him, which, it was always a bad omen. Sybil asks Palmer for more money, which, you know, Daisy threatens to tell Palmer about her affair with Sean to kind of scare Sean after he was wanting to dump her for her daughter. Erica continues to clear her name, just running around town showing people that Tempo magazine lies. Opal schemes to make Jenny a model, which Jenny doesn't want. Jenny just wants to be a kid and go to school. Poor Jenny. And Betsy is mad at Rick for spilling secrets to Devin. But it's like, you're the one with the secret, girl. You didn't even tell him nothing. Why are you mad at him? And so that's all for our All My Children recap. Oh, bye.
Bye.
Right, so thank you for listening. Our theme song is Wouldn't It Be Nice by Sound Mirage featuring Lady Rand. Please rate and review, download, subscribe, all the things. And you can email us at amcrewatch@gmail.com. Thanks. Talk to you next week.